Either one is probably going to get you to where you want to go. I would imagine over time, you're going to just see more volatility in the Avantis fund than you would in a global ETF because there's no tilts in that. Show's called Your Money or Wealth. Joe Anderson, Big Al Clopine, answering your money questions. I got one from Scottsdale, Arizona. Chris, he goes, "Hey, Joe." Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Andy, Joe, and Big Al. "I'm obsessed with your podcast and I always look forward to a new episode every Tuesday so I can listen to it while running or sweating it out in the sauna."
Wow.
Sauna. He lives in Scottsdale.
It's already warm.
Just sweat it out outside.
The hell does he have a sauna for in Scottsdale?
But you know what? It's kind of cold there in the winter.
I mean, I thought for sure this guy would be from Minnesota. Have you ever seen a sauna? Have you ever been in a sauna, like at a person's house?
Not in someone's house, no.
I've multiple times.
You
in
have?
Minnesota.
Oh, in Minnesota, common.
Yeah, very common.
It's just like we have no basements in San Diego. Who needs a basement? Who needs a sauna?
But anyway, okay, well, hopefully he's sitting in the sauna, just sweating it out, listening to us talk about him in the sauna.
Sure.
I want to follow up on my original question. Thank you so much for answering it in reference to our capital gain situation. Oh, all right.
That was in episode 374. We're up to 414 now. So I would imagine you guys don't remember that one.
Do not remember that.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's much more educated on net investment income tax and how it's calculated with your spitball analysis. We are very much enjoying traveling the countryside since the sale of our primary residence back in June. In addition, I am most definitely not the most interesting man in the world, as I'm too straight-laced and probably need to learn how to have more fun, but these markets have definitely enjoyed a few more whiskey neats lately. All right. I plan on dollar cost averaging our proceeds from the sale of our house into the brokerage account while we travel around the country, and I'm looking for simplicity. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the new ETF, AVGE, Avantis All Equity Markets versus VT. AVGE seems more expensive to own, but also has slight tilts towards smaller companies that may benefit someone who is still in accumulation phase of their retirement planning. Is this something that would benefit a 30-year-old to purchase and set it and forget it? Good luck on the golf course and hope you have a few cold ones for me. Thanks for always making my Tuesdays runs more enjoyable. Chris. All right. Sweating it out in the sauna. Really.
That's right.
Running his ass
or
out.
running.
All right. Okay. So Avantis, all equity market. So that's a fund of funds. You know the Avantis?
Yes, I do.
That's the old BFAC.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, we use Avantis funds here. Full disclosure.
We do.
Pure Financial
We
Advisors.
do. And they've got some similar characteristics as dimensional fund advisors. And as a company and as an approach, I kind of like a lot of what they do.
So what this all equity markets fund is basically, I don't know how many funds there is. I don't have a prospectus in front of me, but I'm guessing it's probably like 5 or 6 different funds inside one fund. So you have a fully globally diversified portfolio. It's probably anywhere from 60 to 80% equities, I'm guessing, but they have tilts, right? Just like if you want to tilt a portfolio towards small companies, value companies, you're going to get higher expected returns over the long term because they're more volatile. And so if you want to set it and forget it, that seems like a good choice to me. VT is just a total global stock market index fund or ETF through Vanguard. So that's a really good choice too. Either one is probably going to get you to where you want to go. I would imagine over time, you're going to just see more volatility in the Avantis fund than you would in a global ETF because there's no tilts in that.
Got it.
You know,
so the tilts, so you're talking about smaller companies and value companies, which tend to be more volatile. They tend to have better rates of return over the long term. And when I say long term, I mean long term,
right?
Long term, but they're more volatile to get there.
So how you construct like a global US a global fund, right? You're taking stocks across the globe into one index fund or ETF, and they'll probably market cap weight it, right? So your larger type companies,
there'll be more shares of those.
There would be more value, or the fund composition will have more percentage of those types of companies.
So you kind of, maybe you come closer to mirroring the indexes internationally and domestically.
Correct. But if you look at the Avantis fund where there's fund to funds, you're probably going to have, more exposure to small companies. If I take a global index fund, the percentage of that fund for small companies is going to be very, very low. Right. And so if you want a little bit more juice, then I would go the Avantis route. This is not advice, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. Let's be clear on that.
This is not advice. But it's an interesting thought, right? Because they're both very similar.
Yeah.
If I look at, a fund of funds that is a globally diversified portfolio, you think, okay, well, I have a globally diversified portfolio here, or I can just buy one fund that's globally diversified as well. Which one is better? I mean, they're both really, really good.
Yeah.
Right. It really depends on the preference of the overall investor. This Avantis fund is trying to, put some ribbons in, I don't know, sexy it up a little bit.
Sure.
With the fund of funds. But either or, I think.
I agree. Either or is fine. So here's another question. So Chris sold his house. He's got a pile of money. He wants to invest. He wants to dollar cost average. Good idea? Or would you just invest it?
I would 100% invest 100% of it.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
And why is that?
Because you're going to get a better return long term.
Long term.
If the money should be invested, invest it.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's impossible to time the market.
Right.
Right. So let's say he's going to put in 1/10 of the money in, for the next 10 months.
Sure.
Or 1/12 over the next 12 months, or whatever his strategy is. That's a way to ease into the overall markets. But you've seen the studies.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I think that, and that's because the market goes up more than it goes down. On average. In fact, it goes up about twice as often as it goes down. If you look at year in, year out, year in, year out. So what that tells you is that you have a better odds of the market going up by just putting all the money in. That's not to say you go 100% stocks. You put it into whatever portfolio makes sense for you. And see, that's the key, right? It's not like you're going all in. It's like, well, what kind of portfolio do you need? Do you need 50% stocks, 50% bonds? Great, then do it. Put it in. And I 100% agree with you because the studies show you're better off. Now, the problem with that, though, is people's emotions.
Right. Because the next day he puts some money in, the market's going to drop 10%.
And then he's going, why did I
just do that? Right?
Exactly. So you have to be able to be okay with that because it may go down for a month or two or 5 months or a year or two.
Right.
But on average, you're better staying invested with the portfolio that is appropriate for you rather than just inching in one little bit at a time.
Yep.
Are you prepared for retirement? Schedule a free financial assessment with an experienced financial professional right online at purefinancial.com.